Hi, this is Sandy from Spitfire's Customer Experience team, and this is the fourth video in our series looking at the instruments included in Sound Dust Volume 1. In this video, we're going to be looking at GrandThrift AutoHarp. I definitely recommend you start by watching Dulcitone 1884, 1900 and the Ghost Dulcitone 1900 videos. These videos make a lot more sense if you watch them in order, because many of the controls are similar between one instrument and the next. So when you first load up GrandThrift AutoHarp, you'll see the same familiar controls with on-off switches at the top for each of the different sounds. In this case, we have a plucked grand piano and 3 different recordings of a thrift store AutoHarp. One with a pick, one muted, and one with a pick recorded binaurally. Just like in the other Sound Dust libraries so far, we can mute and unmute a sound by clicking at the top here, and we can adjust the volume by clicking and dragging on the fader underneath. Underneath these faders, we have some familiar controls. The first one, Tune, actually selects the octave that this plays at, the default being 1 here, but the Roman numerals go from -1 all the way to +4. We also have pan controls and attack decay envelopes. As these are all sort of plucked sounds, they don't have a full ADSR, just a simple attack and decay. And underneath the envelope, we have control over a tremolo depth and tremolo speed. These allow us to add volume modulation to the sound. Let's hear the different sounds individually. I'll play with the tune control also, so you can hear what effect that has. As you can hear, these are all quite simple sounds, but adjusting the balance and octave of each of these can give you quite a wide variety of sounds. Next to these basic controls, we have a drop-down menu where we can select which of these sounds is heard in the release sample. The default is none at all, or nope, as you see here. But we can also select the pick, mute, binaural, or grand pluck sound, and that will just add a release sample, depending on which of these you select. Under that, we have the same round-robin controls that we saw in the last video, and we can select these as off or always on, and so on. We can select the number of round-robin variations and how those are ordered. Round-robin being cycling, 1 through 5, and really random being, as it sounds, really random. This display at the bottom will tell you which sample you're hearing as it plays. And much like the Dulcitone 1884 and 1900, we have the same rotor enabling and speed and balance controls, which is a sort of Leslie cabinet sound, and our dust control for adding some grit and distortion, and the knob that says Drink Me, which has a morphing EQ. Let's just hear what those can sound like on these sounds. And under our rotor, dust, and morphing EQ, we also have our different IRs. Again, the top being our reverb, with a drop-down menu for category and a drop-down menu for the IR itself, as well as an amount, which will affect the send level of that reverb. We also have our cabinet effect from the instruments before, again enabling that by clicking this button here. And the third category again is a 3-band EQ. Down at the bottom here we have 2 tabs. The first one shows the instrument page that we're on currently, and the second has a delay engine. Much like the delay engine in the Ghost Dulcitone 1900, turning up the note on delay will delay the MIDI note ons from reaching the instrument, and doing the same for note offs means the notes will hold randomly a little longer between 0 and 100 milliseconds. With both of these turned on, it can really introduce some unpredictability to the sound. The MIDI that I'm playing with at the moment is quantized, but with this turned up, it really does make it sound a little bit more out of time. As you can hear, it can be quite dramatic, so use that sparingly. Much like the instrument page, these faders on the delay page have a button at the top for enabling the delay for each particular sound. We also have a fader for the send level. Underneath the send level controls, we also have some familiar controls for delay: stereo spread, time, dampening, and the number of repeats. Each of these can be set individually for each of the sounds, so you've got really quite a lot to play with there. That's it for our video on the GrandThrift AutoHarp. Join me in the next video where we'll be looking at the Hammer Plus. If you've got any questions, don't hesitate to reach out at spitfireaudio.com/support. Thank you.